Hello again, Libra, Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au, and this month, October 2016, I draw your attention to a very significant new moon taking place in your sun sign on the 1st of the month, and on top of that, in very close proximity to Jupiter, the bringer of good fortune, luck, and spiritual expansion. There are 5 other aspects related to your ruling planet Venus, which we'll talk about, but it's important to focus in on what I consider to be a very auspicious new moon for you in your sun sign. This, of course, relates to one's own personal self, and the new moon heralds the beginning of some changes that are likely to take place. Now, often we want to know, what are those changes on the outside? Am I going to get a new job? Am I going to meet a new person? That stuff comes after the effect it has on one's own personality and the opportunity that you have to really put your best foot forward. This is very much a change in personal style. And of course, it's the changes that happen within you that then start to reflect and manifest in the outer world as opportunities, circumstances, and people. Now, yes, as well as that, the new moon has a full impact on your 7th house, which is the sign of Aries. And so it does bring with it an opportunity for new relationships in that sense. Later in the month, on the 16th, there is a full moon taking place in your 7th house. Often the new and the full moon will occur on the same axis. Sometimes not, but this month, yes. So the new moon takes place in your sun sign. The full moon takes place on the 16th in the 7th house, which is your marriage, your relationships, and significant other people. It's also the general public. So having the full moon there, and this moon is the ruler of your 10th house of profession, so it is a very significant full moon as well, and indicates some grand opportunities likely to take place in that area of your horoscope: work, public relations, and in some systems of astrology, the 7th house is very changeable. Quite likely in your case, because Aries is what we call a movable sign. So things are happening, things that may have been obstructed in the last few months, changes in terms of the management of your company, the employers that employ you. For some of you, new jobs could be an outcome of these very beautiful new and full moons in the angles of your horoscope. One thing, however, there are some hard aspects from Mars and Pluto taking place in the 4th house. There's some challenges there on the home front. We need to have a look at that. Mars, which is the ruler of your 7th house of relationships and other people, could be a obstruction point for you in that sense. We'll look at that in a moment. I do want to get back to the 5 important transits here. The first one on the 2nd, straight after the new moon, is the beautiful trine aspect of Venus, your ruling planet, to Neptune, which is in the 6th house. So here the 2nd, 6th and 10th houses what we call the earthy sort of trine, or related to practical affairs. 2nd house, Venus shows you'll be making a lot of effort to earn money this month, and having the trine aspect to Neptune in your 6th house shows that you're able to do this through really using your imagination and plugging into some new systems of getting the job done. This could be refining the way in which a task is done by cutting down the amount of time, for example, that it takes. So this makes you a hell of a lot more productive. It is also very imaginative. Venus and Neptune have to do with the spiritual and more refined components of existence. So apart from pure systematization of the work, I think this has a lot to do with the energy you bring to the job that you're doing, the love that you bring to that, and also the spirit of service, because the 6th house has a lot to do with service and the way you compassionately and selflessly give of yourself. In other words, this is where you're not really clock watching. You're simply getting into the mode and the slipstream of doing your work properly. And that is what is going to make you great at what you do, which in turn is going to bring in the bucks. Venus in the second house. Venus transits into the third house of contracts, moving into a hard aspect later in the month, actually right on the 30th. That's the fifth aspect I was going to talk about. I'm going to jump the gun there, but that's where Venus in that contract sector moves into the conjunction of Saturn, bringing with a bit of a cool and aloof element to it. Your communication could slow down a bit there. You might need to, just step away from everyone. That's also shown by the fact that on the 26th and the 28th, there are two hard aspects. One to Neptune, which, as we said earlier, was very nice and brought some idealism to it, but you might be challenged by that. And then the right angle to the North Node, which is occurring in your 12th house of charitable acts. So maybe people will start to take advantage of this selfless attitude. You need to balance that, of course, against the practical realities of life. You need to be pragmatic as well as idealistic in all of your affairs this month. Mercury is another planet that I haven't touched on much. It moves into your sun sign on the 7th, bringing with it a really curious energy, a communicative energy. A couple of days later, it's going to make contact with Jupiter. That gives you the opportunity to communicate, write, correspond, email, chat with, and secure the right sort of people and circumstances for the dreams that you have, for this new path that you are on, and the ideas that you have in place. So Mercury's transit through your sun sign is also a very, very good omen. It's also quite humorous. It's going to create a bit of levity there. It's going to make you feel a little less stressed, even though we mentioned the transit of Venus and Saturn there. So with these planets balancing some of these other harder aspects, I think this month on balance should be quite a good one for you. I hope you'll join me again next month. Don't forget to take a look at the opening introduction on the Destiny Engineering, the personalised services that I'm offering, a whole new angle on astrology, and that is something I'd love to share with you, but that has to be done on a more personal note. In the meantime, though, you can also look at the site astrology.com.au, where we have the more detailed analysis for the month, and I hope to have your company here again next month. Take care now, Libra. Bye-bye.